One of the biggest bugbears for e-commerce brand founders is content creation when it comes to especially organic social media content creation. And so what I want to quickly talk through today are some really crucial elements that contribute to virality when it comes to social media content. Now, first and foremost, it should never necessarily be a goal or an objective to go viral with a piece of content. But obviously, through content creation, the goal is to get as many people to see that piece of content as possible, right? It's the same, but it's actually not the same thing, right? We can't have the goal of virality, but we actually do want as many people to see our content as possible. Now, if the objective actually is that we want the most people to see it as possible, then there are some really crucial elements that I've found in the most recent time, meaning like the last 3 to 6 months, that contribute to content getting as much reach as it possibly can. Okay, so the way that the Meta platform works, or social media platforms work, is essentially it's all about keeping people, as in users, on a specific platform. So with that in mind, with that objective in mind, if the platform can get people to stay on the platform longer, they're absorbing content longer, that means that the content that they're absorbing is a direct impact of how long they actually stay on the platform. Okay, so that's this from Meta's perspective. So you as a producer of content, if you can produce content that keeps people on the platform longer, they're actually going to favor you and send your content to more people because it's a better user experience. The long and the short of that basically means is that if it's not a good user experience, if people leave the platform, they lose users, they then lose advertisers, they then lose money, versus the opposite. They have more users, people are on there longer, more people are going to advertise, more advertised dollars through. So that's the back end of how it actually works. But what you can basically do to create content that has a good user experience, therefore increasing the reach and the impressions that you serve with your content, is especially around like real type content. So I'm talking REEL, real content. So essentially what we found to work really, really well are a number of factors. Okay, firstly, a hook. People talk about hooks quite a lot, but basically what that means is the first 3 seconds of the video allowing somebody or emoting somebody to continue watching that piece of content. So if you can create a hook that basically, is curious, is like shocking, or gives some sort of reaction that makes the person want to keep watching or looking, then you've created a very successful hook. So you can now observe, these trends that I'm talking about with the content that you're observing moving forward with socials, where it becomes an educational process rather than a, consumption doom scroll type scenario. I would encourage you to actually do that. The second part that we can look at is past that 3-second hook, what is emoting someone to continue to keep watching, right? Again, we can use the things like relatability. So the people in the environment that's actually in that piece of content, is that like me? Am I interested in watching that because of those specific reasons? Or is it more curiosity? Like I want to see what happens next. Like you think about someone who's starting a recipe or cooking something, then people want to see what the actual process is like, and obviously what the finished product is going to look like as well. So there's obviously curiosity. Again, there's like the FOMO factors where it's like, I need to know this information. I don't know this information, but through your hook and through your content, you've actually been able to emote me to want to continue to watch. And then there's also like a general understanding of things, meaning it's an education process. So there's something to be learned. If there's some value to be had by continuing to watch the video, people will then go ahead and do it. Okay, it could be some sort of training. It could be a video like this, for example, where you're actually learning something that you may not have known before. And so that's going to emote you to continue to keep watching. And so when you go and plan content and then obviously go and produce it, it is really important to consider these factors that I've mentioned, right? The hook, what's going to get people to stop scrolling and actually watch your content, the process that people go through in terms of the relatability of the content, the environment that people are in. Is it like me? Is my target audience actually interested in continuing to watch this? And then of course, what they're actually going to gain from watching the video, whether it's education or entertainment or something similar to that. That people see value in that. Again, what you can default back to is, what am I interested in as a consumer? What do I pay attention to? What do I continue to watch? Based on what factors, what really draws me in. And so this is again where you can change your frame from a consumer, right, to a producer through what you're seeing and what you're actually absorbing. So this is what I typically do. Rather than getting annoyed at the content on social media or ads on social media, I actually look at it from an educational perspective where I say, what made me stop scrolling there? What made me click on this link? What does that funnel actually look like? What are they asking me to do? What am I actually learning from this? And how do then I perceive or connect their brand to that value and how it actually made me feel? That's the same thought process that we can use when we are actually producing the content. But if we have the consumer's content hat on all the time, we're not picking up on these particular things. So this conversation actually started because a client in our community produced a really successful reel, and it got about 32,000 views. It got them sales, got them followers, got them, sign-ups to their email address and everything like that. And it was extremely valuable to their target demographic. Now, what this actually was, I'll describe it and post the link below as well. It was basically, someone was on a golf course. There was actually two people, and one person had a golf ball and a tee in their hand and had to bend down and put it in the grass when they were teeing off. And the other person that were next to them had a device, which is what they sell, that helps people. They don't have to bend down and actually automatically puts it in the grass so they can actually go and tee off. And so these two people walked up to the tee from their golf buggy, and they then did the respective action at exactly the same time. And it ticked all of the boxes that I spoke about earlier in this. The hook was that it was people getting out of the golf cart. Then the relatability was, if I'm a golfer, I'm going to be watching it because they're on a golf course and they're about to tee up. Then there's curiosity about why are there two people walking up to the tee, curiosity about the product that was actually being promoted. And then there was actually the satisfaction of knowing, oh, there's a product like this where no one has to bend down to actually put the ball in the tee into the green, right? Into the grass. So it hit a number of boxes that enabled people to not just watch it once either. It actually looped and looped and looped, as reels do. When you get to the end of the reel, it just keeps going. And so it almost motivated people to watch multiple times to figure out what it was that they were selling. Again, that curiosity, see the contraption again about how it's actually going to work. And it just provided an overall great user experience. People wanted to watch it because it was raw and relatable in the environment that people would expect it to be. And if I'm a golfer, I'm going to actually watch it. And so you can use that again, take cross industries, look at other industries other than your own, and pull through ideas that are going viral or getting a lot of views, and pull that across to your industry and your niche and your market. That's the best thing that you can possibly do, is start to use things that are proven in other areas and adapt them to your product and your target demographic. So I hope this has been helpful for you. Again, I've just been kind of diagnosing and reverse engineering a lot of content over the last few months, and just wanted to share my thoughts and what we're seeing is doing really, really well, especially when it comes to organic content, specifically reels in this case. And obviously share a real life example from a client in my program as well, that they were kind enough to share with the other members of the community as well. So look, I hope this was valuable for you. If it was, I'd love a like, love a subscribe. If you want to know more about how we help e-commerce business, you click on the link below. But other than that, thanks for watching till the end, and I'll catch you in the next one.